imagination so grand. Travel, draw, and let's take a stand. Thoughts come alive, flowing through the pen. With every stroke, we create, we mend. The conversations plan. A bond we defend, dream on, draw us to it again. And beyond we share, as we draw, we connect. The love affair, sketching dreams without a single care. Drive over the tether, heavy share. As we draw, we connect the land. A love affair, sketching dreams without a single care. Travel, draw together we dare. Chatter and scribble, my pencils in hand. As we draw, we chat, it's a wonderland. Colors collide, imagination.
And we are live! I welcome everybody joining in today as we return to Drivel Draw. We haven't done this in a while. We're going to be doing some artwork today, but we're going to also be talking about our subject, which is the task of every Drivel Draw. We have a subject to cover, and today it's kind of a mixed bag. It's going to be two issues, but both pertaining to the same concept, which is art tubers, which it is. I mean, we're going to be discussing some of the bigger issues that are going on. One, we're going to be discussing more about the concept of art fixing. And also, we're going to be talking about a bit of overuse of clickbait and drawing in people to follow you for I don't know what reason. But we'll discuss that as we go through and play or do our artwork tonight. Well, I have some Witchin pages here to work on. I also have to do some sketch work for some Demon Blade pages. So we're kind of getting a mixed bag. Plus, we've been doing a drawing a day where we release one drawing a day. This was originally the first. This was about the only unfinished one. We have to work on that a bit. But we're also working on the one that is officially for today. I'm kind of mixed bag on how I want this to end here. But it's going to be, notably, it's Petra from Demon Blade. We're going to be drawing her out a little bit more in an action pose or in a little, maybe hinting at something that actually occurs in the comic that one knows about. So maybe we'll do that. But let's start with some Demon Blade sketches because I need to get this going. Those that don't know, Demon Blade is on hiatus for the month. It'll return in February, mainly because I am behind on releasing pages on Patreon. I'm kind of getting that way also with Witchin, but Witchin, at least I have several pages ahead. So that has the benefit there, but at the same time, we're like, okay. So when the discussion came up, or why the discussion came up to do a subject on ArtTube, one, it was the whole Dadan issue that came up over the holiday that we will be discussing a little bit more about people going through and fixing other people's artwork. And it's something we need to kind of really talk about in that sense. I'm not going to do it. Another is going to be an issue that when the holidays hit, I usually listen to a bunch of stuff at work and watch a bunch of videos. But it was the holidays. A lot of regular programming that I would watch was on hold, in hiatus, on holiday break. So I got tuned into watching a bunch of art streamers, art tubers, Well, I wouldn't call them the streamers. This is going to be where the divide starts. Those that are artists. I don't know why I'm doing my ear. I have a helm. So does Tetra. One of the big issues is overuse of timing and explaining what time. Now, if you have a video and you have a chance to do editing and all that, then time's going to be a bit different than, say, somebody who live. We do here on the stream. That basically, if someone stands there and be like, oh, okay, well, I did this artwork in this amount of time, this took me, or something like that. It could be anything depending on how quickly a person. I found a vagrant abuse of that. I mean, could call it out abuse. During my review of a bunch of people. Now, most times, we're not going to name names. I'm not going to name names in this in that concept. I will call out what they did, but I'm not going to name names. You will address the Den and the individual because it has another issue than just fixing art. And that issue, I think, has been overlooked by so many people. Handling that whole controversy, that it really needs to be addressed. And that is mainly the capture of anime, so like a screen grab, and editing that, and then selling that. That's illegal. That's flat out illegal. That is flat out art theft. As much as people want to go on and on about, going to a convention, finding so-and-so has stolen their artwork off of, this website or that website, and made it their own and put it on campus. Yeah, that's art theft. But this is also art theft. And to sit there and be like, oh, well, it makes no difference, who's it hurting? Oh, it's hurting big studio. Do you realize how much animators get paid? Realize how much goes into an animation? There's a reason he had a big controversy last year with MAPPA not paying its animator. And then you have people out there that's basically fixing people's artwork by capturing and just tracing over and then selling money off of it. I mean, that to me is far more egregious than the race swapping that occurred in the Dan issue. And I think that's what more is the issue with Japan having it. It's not so much as, oh, I drew this. It's, I'm making money off of your work. That's the problem. And I can fully agree with Japan on that. And if anybody says, oh, well, they don't need it. You obviously haven't worked your heart out to make something, to tell somebody, hey, this is my work. This is something I put my heart and soul in. And I think it comes down to a lot of people misjudge where a corporation is involved and where a person is involved. That seems to be a big issue in a lot of things, where a lot of people can't tell the difference. And I hate to say it, some of it comes from places like DeviantArt existing, and that's as being one of the top DeviantArt artists on DeviantArt as we speak, coming out and being like, yeah, it's probably hurting artists more than we want to know. And people can be like, oh, well, you're exaggerating your DeviantArt. Let me pull my stat. Pull up my stat. So, pull up our talk real quick. These are my stats. I get about 508 a day, at least, on new start views. While this is 0 views, this is only because it only takes stats at the end of the day. This has literally been released last night, and then it dropped. A lot of people started getting attention. It dropped at like 11 o'clock last night. 11 somewhere around there. But you can honestly see, I mean, I'm getting 6K, 42K. And a lot of it is United States. Some of it's from parts of Europe and Japan. I try to keep my work regularly occurring. So this is in a week, 508. My 508 unique profile views. And deviation views, it's over 150,000 in a week. So it's a large account number. People to note. If you ever want to see my work, here it is. So put Pro, Demon Blade's up there at the top because it Demon Blade and Witchin on there. And there's some adults on there too. You do some adult art. And some of it I'm not proud of, some of it I'm proud of. But the thing is, I'm showing you it for a reason. Because one of the tubers I came across, like I said, we'll address this later. One of the art tubers I came across in the last 2-3 weeks, was claiming that they had an award-winning book. Well, here's the problem. You look up their name, you look up for their book, it doesn't exist. So, right there, I mean, if you are... And this person is prominent on YouTube, prominent on most social medias, particularly Twitch, or Twitch. Twitch. TikTok, particularly TikTok. And they make claims that they have this award-winning book. Where's the book? No offense, but if you're gonna make statements like, I've won an award-winning book, one could easily be like, okay, well, let me connect you with the book. Promote it. That'd be something to note. You'd be like, oh, I'm an award-winning author or illustrator on this book. This is where I've been. No evidence. Now, what they do is they sell a bunch of pen tips or brush tips for a program. We use Clip Paint Studio, but they used it a different program. So, I mean, when you do something, just prove. I mean, it's an old art, concept. If you're gonna say you did something, show your work. And that's one of the big issues I've had with the ArtTuber. I will call out a group that I feel does do it. 2 individuals that do it right. Emily and Ditus, with their new channel Spilding, they do it right. They show their work, they show their process, and they're known for being particularly daily, artist YouTubers. They've been around for years, and they show their work. So, I mean, the benefit is we can see them put together a piece. We can see them work on something. When you have a video that's like 2 to 3 minutes, and you're like, oh, this only took me like an hour to throw together. It could be possible. It could be took 5 days to do that piece. You don't know. We're judging you based off of, or we're having to go off of 100% your word and a time speed video with no indication of actual time. Yeah. When you rely on a simple edit mechanic in a film or a video, you omit things, and omitting time wouldn't be a big issue. Wouldn't be a big issue. Unless the same person who claimed they had a book claimed they did something in 24 hours that is humanly possible. How do I know it's humanly impossible? Because I've done it. I've tried it. I've also seen other people, professionals, do not do it in the amount that they did. It is absurd that they're like, I did this in 24 hours. Really? And alright, I'll tell you what the thing was. They created an 80-panel manga in 24 hours. From idea, script, sketch, to creation. Not possible. A professional can probably pull out, 15-page comic, about, let's say, 40, 50 panels at most in a 16-page panel book in about 1 day, 1 to 2 days. It takes a full day just to sketch it out. Normally, you have the story written well ahead of time. You have to get the story usually approved about a week or two before. Now, this person wasn't doing any approval. They just went and did it. I don't have to worry about it. But the thing is their timeline. So, they give themselves 2 hours to research doing the process of a manga. Then they give themselves 2 hours to come up with a concept for their manga. Then they give themselves 8 hours. So, 8. We're already at 20. We're already at 12 hours. You half the day. 8 hours to write a script. They have 12 hours to draw 80 panels. And they didn't do it in 12 hours. They claim they did it in... They claim to do it in 2. 80 panels in 2 hours. Yeah. I'm fast as an artist. I mean, heck, if you tuned in on Saturdays, Dining and Doodles, we did 2 images of Rumble 1/2 in about half. I knew what I was drawing. I did the sketch beforehand. And it took me an hour and a half to do this. Now, those were full illustrations with color and everything. Manga's usually not color. It often is sometimes very simplistic background and art. But you have to have moments also of detail. You've got to have, a setup of a look. I will use Demon Blade here. I got the pages open on the side. I'm going to use my own comic here as a setup place. I'll use page 1 of this very chapter. So, place. I have a simple outward look of the stadium of the high school. Have a moment of narrative being brought in through loudspeakers, announcements, and we have our main character doing an action, pulling through the action, and then the next page we have the reaction. Now, mind you, it was a comedical moment. That's how you tell the panels. That's how you tell the story. This took me 4 days to do. Now, mind you, I do a little bit more detail in the backgrounds. I usually don't go with a planned background, hurry or rush. Another good example. This was done in 1 day. This actually was done in knowing how I wanted Deep Factor to be out from this darkness, shadow, introducing the legless man and having his dark birds and tendencies here to affect our main. So I wanted a background, so there's little elements here. The note, I have him going out in dark. I have this simple dark haze with this black panel on the below. It continues until we get to the flashback version of the main character, having a little bit of a focus, focal point picture, and then we get sort of the description of their situation, the blood in the background, repetitive of the content. Hey, this was happened, and a brief section here of the symbol of the demon blade coming out. Flashback character superimposed on current. How you impact us, how you detail things, both through story and word. Be relatively too simple with your work. It's not so much a comic or manga. It's a comic, or I don't know what. It's the concept is you want to tell the story from panel to panel. That's the concept. She didn't really do it. She kind of just like, here's my character, and they're in this scene, and all like this is pretty much like how the character's drawn. Got like this thing here, and then the next page there. Yeah, it's she's more of a webtoon, like a really sloppy. If you're new to manga, if comics, study. I mean, we're gonna be. I mean, I talked about already screen capturing being a bad thing to do. But at the same time, reading and studying and understanding how a character or artist did this technique or that technique, learning that stuff really helps. And it's not like that information isn't out there. Hell, this is released probably one of my favorite current art book. How to Draw the Shonen Way. Literally a book from each of the shonen creators on Shonen Jump, putting in little tidbits and how to draw, how to properly. And I say that, I mean, because there's a lot of people out there. There's a current manga competition going on. I debate, take part in it. I decided not to do 16 of a manga that is mute. No, the whole challenge was you could not have any speech balloons, no talking, no sound effects. And while I had a great idea, I was just like, I don't know if I really want to draw this, because it kind of, I usually try to be a little bit of humorous to action to comedy or to drama, in my stories, because that's what I'd rather read. What I wrote that was dreary and depressing. It literally made me go, do I really want to give up several days of fall behind on several days of artwork for all something depressing? Not really. But go back to Ruth, and basically we're gonna have a little scene here where Petra's gonna be lambasting Mai about what she just did in play of this game that they've been taking part in. Kind of want to have sort of almost an overflow is when your character jumps from one panel to the next. The best way I can show you that is the unbird balloon panel here, where I kind of have my jumping out of the panel here. So I mean, it's little tips and tricks you pick. Artist is a cartoon, and all that. So yeah, and we're kind of on the first. Okay. So, I'm using a bunch of Reddit because it's a lot easier to find these on Reddit. And art tutorial YouTubers, clickbait, and YouTube algorithm. So basically, this person right here is calling out the abuse of sort of the YouTube algorithm. People learning how to properly get a video out. And mind you, this was 4 years ago. Or I think even shorts were a thing. I could be wrong. But nowadays it's more length of content. If you have a long stream or something. So I mean, I get some views on a lot of our streams, more so after the fact. We don't get as much views on stream time, so we get a lot more after the fact. But this is the person's basically saying, oh, well, they have about 3 to 5 minutes of actual, tutorial to speak, and then after about 3 to 5 minutes, they're just kind of padding. And this is true. This is true. If you're going to teach somebody something, get to the point. Either be understanding or show the process one by one. So step A, step B, step C. Do that. Don't kind of just be like, oh, I'm going to step B, A, B, and then have a finished drawing there. Actually. But I'm dying! Damn it. Still probably couldn't. Let me move. Going a little bit. This would be step A. B. They're basically saying A, B, C are done here, and then the end of the video is way over here. They have all this padding time. Alright. All of this is like the padding as well. So if you're gonna give a lesson, and this is something I've debated. I mean, if people want me to do some art lesson on how to draw quickly, how to become better as an artist, how to do manga, I mean, it's simple. I can do that. That's been in debate. Especially with us doing the daily art pages these days. I'm not afraid to kind of cover that. With foot of here. So I mean, me literally planning out the page. I know what the script says because it's been something I've written years ago. Fact, if I can the exact date of this current script for Demon Blade. Alright, this is number 11. The last time it was edited was November 13th, 2023. Now, that's 2 years ago. Almost a year ago or so. It's not that too, but I mean, I was getting into drawing this chapter around that time. So, yeah, I had a year ago written this. Technically. I say technically because all of Demon Blade up to issue 24 has already been released before. This is the remake or re-release of this series. And that was because of a technical issue that lost us most of the chapters, including this one, from the internet. And it was a matter of I could go through a painstaking concept of releasing crude drawings that got better, progressively better over the time, or I could redo the entire story and just have the art be a little more universally the way it was, giving it actual time and commitment that it would need. So, I mean, it's stuff like this that I kind of needed to tell. You know, it's elements of telling the story as it sort of progresses and changes. Pretty much the same panel, but a little bit different here. There's going to be rack of electricity coming on. As we're reaching the end of chapter 11, chapter 12, or yeah, we're reaching the end of chapter 10, going into chapter 11. This was originally in chapter 11, and then became chapter 12, or chapter 10. The reason being was I had a chapter I didn't feel was strong enough in the remake to tell. And that story was basically just an adventure of the Demon Blade cast and their fake TV show called Talkers, basically off against me. I felt that story was kind of not necessary, and I decided to write it out. And basically, it's hinted at the end of chapter 8, going into chapter 9, and then chapter 9 goes straight into chapter 10. So, the events that were supposed to occur was just simply a weird ghost episode. It was supposed to be fun, but considering we were already in the arc that is the Homecoming story, and this is towards the end of the Homecoming story due for the sketch. So with what I've done today, I'd be like, panel. There are other ways to do panels. Panel brush. This is a panel brush. That part. I don't tend to use it. That's like a panel. There. Panel. I don't like doing that because you can see it's kind of wiping out my spread or sketching. I tend to do a different method that I've done on the paint, which is just do guides. Check over. Uh, Part of the reason is I can do something that most manga artists won't do, and that is have an unusual panel. So, I mean, I could have a panel that might have a better one. But, I mean, here's a character overlaps into it, so he's basically falling off of the page a little bit. Simple trick of mine. Oh, I guess I did. No, I did it. So this page dropped a few days ago. This bottom panel. I could not do that using the panel tool. I'd have to create my own. And that's what I did. I wanted sort of a triangle, but I wanted sort of a jagged edge. That this is an internal thought of the main character. They're trying to think. And they're in panic. So the concept is, oh, I'm jagged. Jagged thought. Jamming into me. Having fun and and there are manga artists who will do it. There's comic artists that definitely do it. But when you tell a story, it's important to kind of have a proper flow. The artist, I don't want to keep hitting on them because they are an artist. They do nice work, amazing illustrations. I have not seen them do proper comic. Shut up. I don't know any of their experience, and if they do have a book, they really need to advertise that book. Because we got a book, and it's right here. Right here. See right there? Demon Blade. Book 1, issues 1-6. Available on Amazon. Right there. We promote it all the time. That book's been out since 22? Yeah, 22. Out since 22. So. Once we get done with issue 12, we'll bring out book 2. I don't know if I'm going to release which in book format. Because it was specifically designed to be web. Webtoon form or webcomic format. It was originally just going to be a webtoon project. Webtoons kind of pissed me off. By basically trying to say that they'd have the rights all the way. I'm gonna give up my rights as a creator on a project and hope that they give me some money along the way. Or I'll make my own success or not. That's sort of how I go with it. Now, are we? No, we're only. When we talk about the art theft issue or the art fixing issue, we have to state Japan has now made most of Japan's manga and artists have come, animators as well, that don't. Japan is very too happy when you violate their work. I will suggest do it. There's a reason I don't sell fan art. If I do a piece that is fan art based, I don't sell it. I will, if somebody commissions it to me, sure. That's an art piece I can commission, but I won't put it out there and be like, I'm going to sell this for, prints of this for so much dollars. You are looking to get sued if you do. And they have every right to sue you. Because you're basically taking someone else's intellectual property and you're making it into something value to you, but not value to them. And it doesn't matter if it's, an amazing piece. It could be, the freaking Mona Lisa of anime fan art, the gorgeous, absolutely stunning. If you sell it, run the chance that the company basically, yeah, we own that. And if they take you to court, they'll win. Disney is the most famous for this. Disney has sued fan arts before. And won. I am very cautious when I draw something of Disney. For that reason. They'll let you get away with some things, but ooh, are they happy to bring down the hammer if you break their quote-unquote legal rights to the property that they own. So, important to know what you're doing. Now, there's knowing, making an honest mistake and be like, oh, well, I didn't think that would be a problem. And then there's blatant. I took a screenshot and altered the image, and I sold it. That is straight art theft. Because all you're doing is basically like going, I put a filter on this picture. Yeah, I know it's the, a infamous artist photograph, but I put a filter on it. Now they all have, like, cat ears. Well, is it really transformative if you do something like that? Not really. Transformative art would be... well, I mean, we're going into Pollock. Not Pollock. Going into Campbell Soup Can territory. Artist name. I'll look it up right now. Andy Warhol. We're in Andy Warhol territory. Andy basically would put a painting out there of a Campbell Soup can. A silk screen of Marilyn Monroe over and over and over with different colors about her face and whatnot. The thing was Andy could do that in a sense. Because he was trying to do a statement through a transformative concept. When we get into the concepts of what people are doing on YouTube, or Twitch, or TikTok, or any of the other social medias, I mean, Twitter now, I mean, it's a regular place for things. You gotta know where the line is drawn. And if you're skirting that line, get a lawyer. Honestly, it's gonna be the easiest way, particularly a copyright lawyer. You need to get one because you're skirting that issue. You're gonna be running the threat of them basically telling you. Much as I like his look, that is very getting the guy. A little bit more rounded. Kind of like that is fair. Okay. The concept is you need to know who you're pissing off. Put it that way. Know who you're pissing off. So if you're gonna do somebody else's work, you're like, hey, no, I really like this series. I'm going to do it, but I'm of this ethnicity. I want to make the characters my ethnicity. I mean, in America, those American cartoons. When dealing with Japan, where, especially with the whole Ubisoft issue that came out earlier this year, or last year, with how they've treated Japanese hits. It's not looked upon great. I hate to say it, but Japan is very antiquated in the concept of race. They're very antiquated in the concept of LGBT, and a lot of things. Love Japan. I love their artwork, but yeah. Sometimes they'll have, you'll have somebody who can tell a deep story in those areas, but you're less likely to see it in Japan. So, I mean, me being a trans woman, I am not ever going to expect a really good treatment from Japan. I really am not. And I mean, it's ironic because one of the few times, no, they didn't win. They didn't win the Oscar. They got nominated, but they didn't win. It's also gonna. Might have. No, it did not. Okay. It was nominated, but it never won. So Tokyo Godfathers is probably the closest representation of a good trans woman in anime. That I could give. That is respectful. And it was nominated for an Oscar, but it never won. It lost out that year. I don't even.
Night falls, city lights shining bright, raindrops falling like sparks taking flight. Street corners gleaming in the neon glow. We dance in the downpour, moving with the flow.
Unsuccessful. Oh, it didn't even get nominated. It really did. In an unsuccessful attempt at the Academy Award nomination of Best Feature Film, movie was released on DVD only, and they kind of, this has been an issue with anime release movies, why they never become an Academy Award. That have, it comes down to antiquated beliefs of Hollywood, and we'll discuss this probably on a closer towards Oscars. Antiquated beliefs of Hollywood with anime, and they're like, oh well, all animation is children's animation. You don't know how to tell a story, saying that a medium is all style. If you think you can only tell a story in animation for children, then you're an absolute idiot. No offense, but I mean, animation is a medium, it's not a style. Or it's not a genre. I hate to say it, but I mean, I don't hate to say it. It's true. It's a medium. It's not a genre. You can tell any kind of story in animation, and many have. And when we get closer to Academy, I'll probably talk about that. I don't know what films are up for even nominations this year. I have my doubts of any anime because I think Suzume was last year, I believe. And The Boy and the Heron won last year, so I mean, anime did win last year, but it was Ghibli, and it was directed towards kids. If you think we're gonna see the day of, you know, I mean, that's even the case of popular movies in general. We're not going to see the day where too many action or adventurous movies are ever going to be on the Academy Awards, because the Academy Awards tend to be drunk. It just happens to be the way they kind of operate. Mainly because that's the way Hollywood likes to be, and that's Hollywood actors and actresses are the ones that determine that film. Okay. So, yeah, going on a tangent. Tokyo Godfathers probably had the best interpretation of an actual trans female. They have a bunch, we have a bunch of other shows, stories, and what covered the Ranma type tactic twice now. I covered it a little bit on Saturday when we do a Ranma 1/2 remake. I feel it did a decent job, but I feel like it missed the mark when it came to elements of Ranma's identity. You could tell that Netflix wanted to go a certain way that was different than what it, which plays into fixing. So I mean, we've talked before about, some people want to fix subtitles, and so it's like, oh well, I watched this series, I think I know better than the creator, and I'm gonna change the subtitles, or I'm gonna change what this it's the end of Jello Apocalypse. They've destroyed their career, and more too that they destroyed. Good they destroyed it, in my opinion, because they felt like they had a superiority complex. Like, this, how they felt the story had to be good, and they're all right with that. And their recent review of One Piece, total garbage, from Jello Apocalypse, where he basically just calls Oda a pedophile without really having any idea what the hell he's talking about. Just kind of basically says, yeah, so you're gonna be that kind of person. You're gonna be an ugly person, about something because you don't like something about it. And that's pretty much who Jellopocalypse is. I mean, we see it now. It's public. Um, they destroyed them. They anybody who would have a fandom still with Jellopocalypse, I don't know why. These days, because I'm literally see them and be like, are you really just gonna kind of gloss over one issue or another? There we go. There. I needed to get color tone properly. Okay. Like I said, it's still a little bit square, but it's about right. Those who read the series of Witchin, yes, there's going to be a bit of outside of Condales. The scene's going to be back at Wands with Abigail, and in this case, I gotta remember his name. I gotta write it down. Really gotta write it down. I think his name's Terrence. Or Terrell. I could be wrong. One of those. I know it starts with a T. Also really, really tired. Having a weird day of cleaning off cars and going to work and mind-numbing myself, trying to remember how I do my job after having a long weekend because of weather. I mean, it's just one of those. I mean, honestly, it's upsetting. See how people like Jellopocalypse destroyed themselves because they were like, I want to have, this is my agenda, and I'm going to make that in somebody else's work. And that brings us to the story. So, those who don't know, the hit series of last season in anime was Dandadan. Shonen Jump series about basically psychic ghosts and aliens and all that stuff and weirdness, and utterly humorful series. So the voice of Momoro, who is our glass-wearing character here, was a fan of some race-swapped art. Get down to the race-swapped art as soon as we get. So this is the art piece I'm talking about. Now, like I said, I wouldn't have an issue with this piece if it weren't for being, and they admit, a screenshotted scene that they drew over. Now, I mean, they have some great detail, they have good concept of color, but if you have that, you know, are you doing your own work? What are you doing? I mean, it's one thing to alter somebody else's work, but it's another thing to sell it, and that's what they were doing. They were selling these art pieces. And that's where Japan is like, alright, you went from, we don't like you drawing this, so please stop, to, we are now going to legally bring in the lawyers. Because can't do it. Can't do that. And not really not get yet. Now, I mean, absolutely have people of color and whatnot in your comic. There's no objection to Caucasian. And right here. in my comic. Is he a main character? No. There's going to be another character, a more main character that be of another descent coming down the line. 2 or 3 chapters from now. No. 1 chapter from now. They'll probably be introduced of the next. But they're not going to be introduced as they are, because the whole concept of Wiccan is, well, there's this concept of magic and mysticism that part of the world has, and there's a lot of sort of hypocritical thinking shown in the world. Very much a lot of Wiccan is about sort of a race view, ethnicity view of an individual, telling the story of how to break down those barriers. I mean, very much I want to have. I have multiple races. Demon Blade, they play characters at the moment. Well, but I mean, at the same time, they play integral roles. I mean, I have Ro and the principal and the vice principal of Demon Blade are all of different ethnicities. And Ro being the more major element there, he's the main character's best friend of this time and age. He is also a love interest for sister. Bit of a goofball, but at the same time, he's got heart. So I mean, I write him to be that way, and I base him off of some individual I've met, my experience. That's when I come up with writing a character, I usually will base them interactions I have with people. Could be very well as like, oh, I had this brief interaction with somebody that I sat on a bench with, or it could be somebody who I've had, years of knowing, and I've turned them into a character. It varies. It's important to kind of know, hey, you don't want to sort of be offensive with it. But you need to give them personalities. I'm not saying do a stereotypical. Absolutely wrong. But, I mean, it doesn't hurt to, have more interactions with somebody of that ethnicity. Like, hey, if, I had a character of your ethnicity, how would you act? Get people's advice. Listen to it. It helps. Sometimes just shutting up and listening to people helps. No? I don't do it that often in here, but just shutting up and so this issue, however, blew up. It blew up. The whole issue with the manga controversy. This came out. Let's see. I'm trying to see who did the response here. This is from Saturday AM, a manga group. Their response: the nonsense about the Don to Don edit has been insane, but we have been calling out the double standard in fandom treatment and representation for over a decade. Black kids want to be included in an industry that doesn't always recognize them with black and brown fan base and creative talents. We at Saturday AM create original manga content. At Saturday AM, we diverse heroes, staffs, and creators. We're a black-owned manga company, but not a black company. Everyone deserves to see themselves and be the hero, respective of their beauty, and appreciate who they are. And so, yes, I fully agree with. In fact, Saturday AM, I do suggest they do have their own collections. Check them out. If you are looking for a manga or an anime, well, I mean, they do a manga or a comic of Black origin, yeah, check them out. They do a pretty good job. But the issue being here is we have stuff like this, race swapped from Korean manga, solo leveling, well, anime in this case, but a race swap for that. Okay. Then they show the race swap of servers of Snape, Harry Potter, in the new series. That one's probably a bigger issue. When you have a description of an individual in the original content, in the case of Snape, where he is pale, nerd, black hair, you know, this overly astute, you know, that doesn't go well with a race swap. It really doesn't. And I for one, am not going to watch the Max series because I really don't have the time to watch the Max series. But I'm trying to fill the shoes of freaky Alan Rickman, man. It's that you're doomed from the start. I mean, it's Alan freaking Rickman. Man. He's one of the better actors of the last century. Brilliant source, and I think trying to remake Harry Potter at this point, brilliant, dumb move. But yeah, don't try to fix some. And this is devastating. I think it's more toward. Yeah, art is beautiful, but a funny thing. While there are rules, part of the fun and genius of the art is in breaking them. Yet, despite how subjective art often needs to be judged, this may be an official judging, such as submit a piece, be featured in a show, an art magazine, or less informal judging, such as in a class. And as devastating as it is, your art may not line up with the expectations. This reality all artists must face to learn to live with picking ourselves up after trying again. The most devastating point of my time for a long period was my 4 years in art college. I went to college from 1996 to 2000. And when I went there, I was drawing anime and manga. When no one knew it. A lot of people, in fact, would tell me, in fact, some teachers told me, they would insult the concept of the series, of stuff that was. The last year I left, that school started teaching manga. And the reason they did is because I would do stuff like put out reports, the godliness of Rumoko Takahashi at the time, because I couldn't use people like Oda or Creator Berserk's concept. I couldn't use those because they didn't really exist in American zeitgeist that I could point to. But I could point to Takahashi at the point. And here was the woman that is the queen of comics, as her title is, completely being ignored by the American concept. And this was right before Inuyasha became a big thing. So this was days of getting Rama 1/2 on VHS. You get 2 to 3 episodes. If you're lucky, 3 episodes. It's usually 2 episodes in one sitting, or one tape that you paid $30 for. So it's like, it was not worth it. And compared to today's price range with anime, it was not worth the amount that you had to dish out for it. Ice College is and was, it still is, one of the foremost art colleges in the U.S. They refuse to take comic art, or manga, or anime, or really any seriously. There is only one teacher I really could get to acknowledge, hey, there's something to this, by showing him stuff like Ghost in the Shell or Akira, and be like, you know, the stuff you're seeing that people are comparing it to is the stuff from the 70s, 60s, sometimes the 80s, where it was the Speed Racer was like, oh, I get speed. Oh no, where is speed? Speed is driving. Oh, that crap. I mean, it did a disservice for a good decade or so before anime really started to get its viewpoint back in the 90s and carried on into the 2000s. When I hear a lot of people talk about anime and manga, they talk about the 2000s. They don't realize that comic book shops had Ranma One Half, had Maison Koku, had Urusei Shora, had Oh My Goddess. These are not Jump titles, folks. These were, comedies to more shoujo titles available in comic book stores. This was releasing them like a comic book for a little while. You'd get an issue, you'd have about 2 different stories in one comic book. Dark Horse had Oh My Goddess. I think they also had probably Claymore, I think. I don't remember what other series they had. Because it's really hard to get a copy. Back in October, I started collecting these. I wanted to collect the originals releases here in the United States, because it's like, this is something that people don't see. This is something that people look at anymore. So I have a collection of Ranma One Half sitting on a bookshelf. I am almost a third of the way through collecting the books of the series, and it's like 36 books. I have all of Maison Koku. I finished getting that literally a few weeks ago, and I gave up on Oh My Goddess because Dark Horse screwed over the original series by naming it per title of the series. So they'd give a title like The Terrible Miss Erd was a title. They would label it that way instead of issue 1, 2. Maison Koku was the same way, where it wasn't named after the number. It was given a title, and I can literally tell you the titles right here because they're right at my side. So you have officially Maison Koku. You have Family Affairs, Home Sweet Home, Good Housekeeping, Domestic Dispute, Dogged Pursuit, Student Affairs, Empty Nest, Learning Curve, Intensive Care, Hounds of War, Game Set Match, and then Welcome Home. It was a pain in the ass to have to look it up and then try and track down bookstores to go, hey, this book that you may have been holding on the shelf for years, and some people may have been like, hey, it looks pretty good, maybe I'll get into it, but I want to find the first book. I dug deep to try and find all this. I am still doing it for Ranma. I also have a collection for One Piece, but One Piece is a little easier to get a hold of. I can be like, okay, I need issues 20 through 30, so let me get them in a bulk. That's a little easier than, say, I need issue 34 of Ranma One Half. Who has it? And be like, no, I don't want that version. I want this version. And be like, good lord, it's such a pain in the ass. But it's maintaining the original content as it was released here in the United States. It's something nostalgic for me, but it's also it's what got me into manga. It's I mean, I started with anime and manga probably with anime. I know they just released the series on DVD Blu-ray, I think through I don't even remember who's got it, but I know it's out now, whole series. But they separated it the way it was released. It does frustrate me that way. That's the Project A-ko series. Project A-ko was a movie that went into OVAs that it's about lesbian lovers, essentially. As a lesbian superhero series, it's the only way I can really describe it. It is stupid and funny, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. I mean, it's humorous, but I wouldn't be like, oh, this is a good example of anime. I would more likely say that with something like that time. Like, I hate to use Ninja Scroll because people tell me Ninja Scroll doesn't anymore. I mean, Demon City, Shinjuku, most titles that were horror elements that really survived trip over. Ranma was literally, and for that matter, Tenchi. Tenchi kind of did it too. Kind of broke barriers here in the United States. They were sort of the way Inuyasha would not exist in the United States if it weren't for Ranma, and they wouldn't exist if it weren't for the success of Dragon Ball and V, and the success of Sailor Moon, the success of Pokemon. They wouldn't exist if that, because Pokemon came out in the 1996. They started releasing Ranma here as around that same time. But it wasn't released on television because you couldn't air it on television. It was not a series that would be allowed on American television. Which is ironic now, because now I can watch it on Disney Plus. Which is just absolutely hilarious to me, to be able to watch that kind of stuff. I mean, I laughed at the concept that I watched Die Hard as a Christmas movie on Disney Plus. I was like, I'm watching Die Hard uncensored on Disney Plus. I'm seeing boobs, I'm seeing blood, I'm seeing people blown up. There's vagrant use of the F-bomb. This is a Christmas movie. But I mean, that's the thing. It's Disney Plus could have put out, and they could have done censored family version that would used to air on television version of Die Hard. Maybe they'd allow the blood, but they wouldn't allow the vulgarity. They wouldn't allow all this other stuff. And in a way, when you water down art, I do declare films as a form of sort of how I was trained as an artist to be, because I studied as Hans Gruber, and the whole, oh, well, this is a Christmas movie. It is not suitable for children. Do not watch Die Hard with 4-year-olds. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not a good choice. Unless you want him or her to be like, is it okay for me to blow up the neighbor's dog? Oh. But the movie showed me that. we can go into the concept that parents need to be parents. Another day. Well, I do find it ironic that we're going away from the that it was parents, and now we're going, oh, it's too sensitive because it it's too sensitive a subject. It offends this group. You're going away from the Christian parent being the problem to no overly sensitive individual. And I mean, it goes back to what I read a moment ago. In art class, we would have critiques, and art teachers lay into us. And again, we was 90s, the end of the 90s, into 2000. Because I graduated in the year 2000 from college. You were harsh. That's the way you built up a sort of scab to make a better artist. You would do that. And you would see people in the art community of the college, and they'd be like, I'm quitting. Like, why you're quitting? And it'd be like, well, because so-and-so teacher hated my artwork and whatnot. I literally lambasted a teacher in one of my classes. I got into it, but it wasn't for my art. They had a hangover because they were being drunk. Stupid. So they didn't want anybody to really make any noise. I sneezed. They kicked me out of class. I laid into that teacher. It's like, you are going to fault me for sneezing. You are an absolute ass of a teacher, and you don't know what you're doing. And he had to apologize to me later on. It's like, look, I'm sorry. I did not know. I was not in the right place to do that. It's like, yes, you're not. When you have your own problems and you bring it into the situation and want to persecute somebody for a natural action, something that they can't control, then it's absurd. But if I stood there and I was like, oh, I'm going to quit as an artist. I can't do this. And I had rightfully had some really crappy art projects. Some that did not deserve to be high quality. And then I had some that were, breathtaking. Some that were, teachers were like, how'd you do that? My senior project was how did you? I had to do a documentary with 2 other people. And we, of course, filmed the documentary on VHS instead of getting, expensive movie cameras and paying for the film and all. The documentary on VHS because it's cheap. And we were doing a documentary covering Fall of Saigon. He had an interview with an actual individual that was there at the time, and they gave their art-given response. I did the interview. I did the editing of the video. The video on the last week, as we were putting the final touches on, got eaten by the VHS machine. And those who don't know, back in the day, a VHS tape would be literally a piece of flimsy plastic that, if it got jammed, the film would get all craggly and not be usable. It'd jam up all the time. I did something most people don't know how to do. I hand edited that videotape. I made it so that videotape worked. And I turned in the segment of the tape that I physically cut and edited into the t-shirt. T-shirt's like, I'm giving you a flat out A+ because you did something I didn't know existed. And so, yeah, it takes a matter of not giving up, not being, telling yourself, no, you can't do this, a lot. Don't let other people, tell you what you can or can't draw, but be respectful if you're going to take somebody else's work, and know that they very well can and may sue you. Because cookie crumbles. Create your own work. Create your own voice. Create something. Just create. And a lot of people, they ask me, hey, can I show you my work? And I'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, do you want me to critique it? And they're like, yeah. I said, all right, before I critique you, I want to know, I am critiquing your work. If you have issue with this, keep in mind, I'm being an artist that has some experience in doing the work of this task. I will review it. I am all for, just promoting somebody who has, done a simple drawing. In fact, we are. In the past, I've talked about the comic issue I've been having with a comic I did in the past called The Bet. That is a fan comic. I never made money off of it. I still am not making money. Over the last few weeks, I had somebody from a Spanish-speaking country, because I'm having to use Google Translate to kind of converse with them. They said they wanted to do their own ending to it. Said, what? You do that? Give me the link. I will post it up as part of the as an ending option for people who are planning. It's like, here you go. The piece is done on notebook paper with pencil, and it's in pure Spanish versus the comic being in pure English. I'm proud that they did that. I'm happy they did that. I proudly put it up there, and I said, if anybody else wants to do this, because they wanted to continue the series. They enjoyed something I had part in creating. I don't want to say I created solely because it was not my idea. I did not ever claim it to be. It was a fan comic, Digimon. But if somebody wants to create, and I stand to it right here and now, if you want to create an ending to The Bet, you saw DeviantArt at the beginning of the stream. That's my DeviantArt page. Go to it. Go to The Bet. Find The Bet in there. I will not take down my work. But if I don't like it, I will not take it down. And the same goes with videos here. The first 4 videos, or first 4 streams we had no sound. No sound. You can check the backlog of this stream. I think I might have removed those because it's just like I have got videos with no sound on them. So I may have removed those simply because of technical issues. But I'm all for keeping the crappy videos we've done in the past. We've done the voice box. I am going away from the voice that we had, mainly because it also poorly timed the lip sync. Now you can kind of see an accurate take of my lip sync. And I can do the voice. Hi. That's out of practice and training, and Billy and voice actors that gave me tips. Like, okay. Do I feel I mean, let's go back onto the Dandadan a little bit, because we're in the half hour. I want to talk about the repercussions. So, it was noted that the voice actor liked that piece, and they got lambasted for liking that piece, to the point that they quit social media. I wouldn't mind it, the fact that they just liked the piece. I wouldn't mind that. Again, my main problem with that whole was that it was a captured scene from the anime, and they tried to sell, I think it was like $15 a remake page. Kind of cheap these days for a print. I don't know what the quality of their printing was, but a print these days should be at least 30 range, depending on the size. At least starting. People want what the value of a print is. It depends on what it is. I mean, that being a single panel, not being really, not really even a monumental panel. It's cutesy. I've not been shown. I mean, oh, never mind. Yeah, I already closed it. All right. I didn't realize I've been talking on talk stream page instead. The artwork of yeah, I mean, it's do your own work. It's a better sense of it. I mean, fan art is fine. You can do a fan art. That's not a problem. Just don't try to make money on fan art or expect to make money on fan art, because you are very easily in the territory of being sued. Not me being like, oh, you absolutely do something original. No. I'm giving you a forewarning. There are companies, and Japan has gotten tired of art with race swapping and fattening, size changing of characters. They're tired of it. And so some of the studios, I almost guarantee you, will get to sue happy. Suing people for work that they're making money on. That is technically not their property. It's just a forewarning there. I'd hate to see balloons on the floor and cake in the fridge. Gonna celebrate me like I'm the birthday bridge. Happy birthday to me, I'm the queen of the day. Gonna throw my party in a big silly way. Happy birthday to me. Let's talk about something stupid and silly for the rest of the stream. So there is a link, potentially, to the COVID vaccine. Particularly, I think it was the Pfizer version. It makes women's boobs grow. I kid you not. There's currently a study on going under to see if this is the case. Because if it is the case, then plastic surgery is going to be a thing of the past for boob jobs. If you could get an injection and your boobs grow, I mean, I would pay for that. Hands down. Now, I have a problem there because I'm allergic to the COVID vaccine. I couldn't get it. I'd be like, I'd have to get the old traditional boob job. But the concept that, you get an injection from, let me see if I can find the story.
one else to throw me a bash. Got a playlist and snacks and some birthday cash. I sing to myself like a one-woman show.
I gotta pull this up on Damn it! Stop it! Teen's breast grow to triple G size following COVID vaccination. Concerns not adequately addressed. I cannot show most of this article because they do show some pictures that are inappropriate for viewing on stream. But yeah, they're linking the potential COVID vaccine into a quickened breast enlargement. From what I remember in the article, that the teen had B cup size. Okay, I have a B to C cup myself. It's like, they're boobs. They're there. They're not like massive. G cup. G cup would be the size of my freaking head. Like putting my head on my chest, doubled up. Like, damn. Girl, we laugh, but I mean, the unfortunate teenager girl is already having had one breast reduction, so you might have to get a second one. That is caused by this COVID vaccine. There's going to be a large lineup of this COVID vaccine boob growth, if it turns out to be true. I don't know if it's true, but it's definitely something to look into scientifically. Wait a second. What? It's too funny to just go in and be like, oh no. What could we do with it? I don't want to do any more on this stuff, and I kind of want to save those off stream. I don't want to show too much of the gives away a little tips and tricks. Don't gotta pay for that. No. I'll cover making magical technique. Probably if you guys want to do instructional, let me know. I mean, do you want me to do some instructional videos of art, how to do a manga, how to do a comic, telling a story, something like that? There. Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to do something like that in the future. We, of course, are playing Final Fantasy Remake right now, going into Rebirth when it comes out at the end of the month on PC. We're also playing Stardew Valley Sundays. Still one of our more populars. And we have our Dining and Doodles request show. If you have something you want requested, we're on. It can be fan art. I will do fan art on Dining and Doodles. The only profit that I make off of that is nothing right now. Sponsors. And I'm not high enough to get paid from viewers. So, nothing. My income from that is nothing for record. But I'll be happy to do some art. I am going to be doing a Final Fantasy VII art. Because it's a request that I somehow missed over the days past. I'm going to come back to it and get it done. We, of course, have Witching coming out every Sunday. And Demon Blade originally was coming out every Sunday, but it's on hold right now until I get last pages of 11 done, or of 10 done, and started on 11. I've kind of fallen behind. I was hoping during the holidays I'd have a little more time, but the holidays I got sick a lot. Unfortunately, my health conditions. I'm trying to work through sickness. We did stop Sunday's stream a bit early because and we're doing daily drawings. So, like I said, there's a daily drawing here. I'm a bit mixed on how I want to do this, so I'm going to show you guys a little what magic. So elements of Demon Blade, and I kind of showed it here early. I must is in order to summon the actual blade for Tetsu / Tetra, they have to go into the dark part of their memory, of their life, and find within the darkness the light of summoning the soul. And chapter 11, the end of chapter 11 and the beginning of chapter 12, all of chapter 12, some of chapter 13. A lot of it's focused on Mai, and Mai was art request we did days ago. Let me see if I can pull it up. No, let's see. Once I had it all, now there's nothing left. Faces in the shadows, stealing every breath. What I used to know crumbles into dust. Trusting in a ghost that I can never. So this was what we did for Mai back on Sunday. Much of the story of 11, 12, and 13 involves Mai in her past. But there's a little bit of Tetsu that's being rewritten in Tetsu and Tetra. They're, of course, the trans character that gets to gender bend back and forth a little bit. And the story, I don't want to completely reveal what the darkness is, what the past is that Tetsu / Tetra's hiding. What they have not talked about in the series. Gone through a lot of Tetsu's past. But you will see a little bit of seduction of the dark in chapters 11 and 12. You won't see it in 13, because 13's mostly Mai's backstory, with the villain's backstory arc. So I'm tempted to do this blacky shadow of... In fact, I'm trying to read. So, it involves this legless man, and that past is going to be hidden. I don't know when it's going to officially be revealed in the comic fully. I know a little bit of it's going to drop in chapter 18, 17. Like I said, 24 chapters were already dropped before. So chapters 18, 17 would be introduction of a character named Lorelei Cassavet, which she's going to have her own. That's the thing you do with the manga. Rude and dark backstory. Now, you don't have to do it for every character, but with Lori, we've covered a little bit of her. You hear these songs. One currently playing is Twin Hearts Unite. So, I mean, this is technically a power that occurred chapter 3 of the original manga. Where Tetsu and Mai learn to unite their power first time. Twin Heart being sort of the combined elements of their power plus whatever power is in. So it's the Super Saiyan fusion kind of thing element of the story. Now, could I've told it better? But it's an appropriate moment. How they develop, and how they go forth. Develop. And I mean, with all of the characters, I mean, Lori always had a dark backstory. From the get-go. He's a witch from the 80s, sort of think of the Craft, or, 80s, 90s, sort of that, well, more so 90s and 2000, I guess. The goth scene, character that, had a moment of, unaliving herself. And she's now a ghost in the story, but she is responsible for her unalive. And she regrets it, but can't go back from it. It's okay. You gotta live what happened then. So I'm trying to think of what I want to do for this drawing, because I do need to finish this. This is today's art piece to drop. I mean, I could just drop it as that. That could be just a straight drop, but I don't feel like that's appropriate. So I think what I'm gonna go with, a quick, while we're here, background that is similar to what it will be comic. Now, Demon Blade is 100% black and white. I don't draw it in color. I will draw the, a color page or splash page in color, and I'll draw covers of the book in color, but I do not draw it in color. Main reason it would forever with the detail, because I try to be far more detailed with this. So, I mean, you can see right here, I have little curves here on the ruffles on the back of Tetra's dress. I have the lace number for the shoe and how it builds. It's little details, and I hadn't even finished the detail. There's one detail I always do, I haven't done here. That is the gauze that's used to wrap the blood. Not detailed. Up. So one of the things I'm going to want to do is just get a brush here that is textured, hatching brush. Gray. Kind of just add some little darker tone. As I go in and zoom in, you can start to see the pattern and sort of detail. I've got stuff like this here, end mark, direction, there. This is one of the things I think a lot of artists don't realize. Manga and anime. Well, manga. With manga artists, learn how to make your strokes in one go. You don't want to sort of go back over work and sketch kind of like you do a sketch. So a sketch, go back here, pull up the sketch. So sketch, I go, okay, I want to do a head. I'm going to take a circle, sketch it out, and sort of make it into an oval. So I do a head. And then we'll do the cross, and that's sort of where the eyes will meet with the middle of the head. With doing it in ink, I'm going to do a panel right here. We want to do it as one long swoop. We don't want to do all the sketch. We can do the sketch like this and this. Don't want to do that. Want to be that. That's why a lot of the faces are somewhat similar for artists, because they have a unique style, and you can see I screwed up the chin a little bit on. But I mean, the point is to learn how to draw your character with a pen stroke, than just a. I can be like, I know her eyes are always planted, very small eye or sharp-eyed as a character. So if I'm gonna do my, I'm that. If I'm gonna Ida, her eyes change, but it's usually like this. Tatsu's a little bit more this, and then I'll just add eyelashes if it's Tetra. I mean, I know how to draw the character without having to even sketch. And it comes with training, comes with knowing what your character is, like what you're. And anybody can learn how to draw, you know. You've been talking about Rama a lot. So Rama. I drew it the other night. See if I can do it. So Rama. This is just a quick sketch from memory. I'm not even using a picture. Shattered dreams lie scattered on the floor. And it hand quick sketch like that. It's closer to the example if I was going to actually spend time doing the circle like I did in the stream for the sketch to get my layout right, to get the page done right. It'd be like, okay, here's the face. Bang. Eyes. Takahashi really gives a big forehead, but she usually covers it up in hair. Gives them tiny ears. Little triangle bit. And as I pointed out in Saturday's stream, it's more like a heart. Kind of a misshapen heart for the pigtail. And up nose, so it's like that. I mean, it takes moments of practice and characters to do what you want. And I mean, I wasn't too happy with how the leg was coming out on the sketch. So I kind of reworked it as I went here with Tetra in the picture. I think what I'm going to just do a quick setup here. this is an example.
Working hard in the golden
So,
sun.
I want sort of a Flashpoint character.
Harvest time, the crops are high. With you here by my side.
That's
Under the
not centered. He is not the center. It
sky,
takes the idea out. I want to change the color of that.
so high. In the moonlight we will play. Simple life here
There we go.
to stay.
I'm going to change it to 1. And I'm going to be using that as sort of a reference. What I'm going to do. And we're going to add a planted floor. So I'm going to do tilt on sort of a basketball stadium floor. Can occur in a basketball. Come on. Why am I not seeing? It.
She dreams of freedom, a life that's real, but the pressure's on, it's hard to deal. She puts on a smile,
So that is a basis.
her shattered dreams that slowly take it.
Grab that aim line down to
She's losing her sanity, but she won't give up, she won't let go. She'll rise above and let her true self glow.
that back up on layer here, and I'm gonna try and follow the angle of these lines with with what I'm doing is playing space. Okay, here's a plank. I mean, there's nothing wrong using that tool earlier, or using this outward spark. I tend to go to it for quick changeover here and now and then. And it's one of the better tools, the focus tool.
Shadows haunting like dreams relentless. Voices echo from the depths of night. Memories like daggers
Point is,
pierce my soul. Trying to find peace, but it's out of sight. Blood still stains the walls of the past. Broken pieces I can't seem to mend. Fear grips tight, won't let me breathe. Echoes of the terror have no end. Scars of yesterday cutting deep. Enough I can't
so that if I take that down, you can start to see how it's come out. Spots that are on, so I can here. Have a warped perspective there. What I'm kind of going for there. Get all that on a different layer than the brown. I can go around and do. I do see something. see that I did have a brown line. I just couldn't see it. There we go. That. I do want to create a bit of texture here. Brown, so I'm going to see if I've got texture. So what I'm gonna do, actually, go in here into effects, texture, and under color texture, I can find oh, it's got to download it. Ah! Okay, it's downloaded. I can find a texture that's kind of wood grain. Actually, that is wood grain. Try and put it in a format A work. If I can kind of that, and I'm gonna take other brown. Kinda a thick. Jagged. Gonna go a little bit darker. Brush down. Same. Kinda. Take that in. I'm gonna darken. Don't want to lighten it. Darken it. Track. Then I'm gonna add another effect because I was like, I want to do something with this. So let's do. I think I might keep. I might. I do want to represent darkness. I need a brush. Help me.
Words like knives, they hurt me. In my heart, they would stay. From the ones who should love me, but they pushed
Speaking
me
of Lori.
away. I thought I'd found my peace
Oh, this is the song about Lori.
in the silence of the night. No more tears, no more pain now. But it doesn't feel right. I looked in the mirror, saw a face full of lies. Tried to hold it together, but I lost all my tries. Every laugh, every whisper echoed louder each day. From family and strangers, till it led me astray. I thought I found my peace now.
And all I'm doing is I got a watercolor brush, and because I can enjoy using the watercolor brushes to paint.
But it doesn't feel right.
I'm adding black and purple the back of the character.
saw a face full of lies. Tried to hold it together, but I lost all my tries. Every laugh, every whisper echoed louder
Want
each
to get a
day.
bit of a curb crackle.
From family
Got
and
one of those.
strangers, till it led me astray. I thought I'd find my peace now, in the silence of the night. No more tears, no more pain now, but it doesn't feel right. I thought I'd find my peace now, in the peace now, in the silence of the night. No more tears, no more pain now, no more pain now, but it doesn't feel right. Oh, it doesn't feel right.
Kirby crackle is just its definition, because it's of sort of watches.
Lock my heart away, keep it safe and sound in a hidden fortress where love can't be found. Building up these walls, shields of steel and stone, to protect the love inside, to keep it all
I kind-
alone. Silent tears will fall when I'm thinking of you. Whispers in the dark, saying this love is true. But the world's so
Airbrush.
cruel, it tears us apart. I'll be your guardian angel, protecting your heart. I'll hide away, keep the demons at bay, wrap you in my arms, keep you safe from the fray. I'll be your shield, your fortress, and your guide, guarding your heart.
Oh.
Forever by your side.
Often that. Now I want to add a few effects here.
Staying strong for us both, never for our love to boast. I will hold on to our love, they can't tear us away. I
Good.
will be with you each and every day. While it may be hidden, you will know it is written that our love will be defended till the very day all has
Add a little bit
ended.
of
I'll hide
darker
away,
tone. Let's
keep the demons at bay, wrap you in
Right,
my arms, keep you safe from the fray. I'll be your shield, your fortress, and your guide, guarding your heart, forever by your side.
and I kind of want to make it a little bit of a disco ball effect.
While it may
Hey,
be hidden,
burger
you
tone.
will know it is written that our love will be defended till the very day all has ended. Late nights, long talks, heartache beneath our thoughts, secret smiles, stolen glances, nobody knows our hidden chances.
White back,
Silent sighs,
tone it down.
unspoken words, feeling lost, but knowing it hurts. We laugh, we cry, we're there for each other, but behind it all, We're secret lovers. In the shadows, we dance alone. Torments we friendship and love we've known. Our hearts
Grabbing-
ache, we can't let go.
Fade both of those so I can get more color.
Unspoken love will never show.
Darker color.
She walks through shadowed memories, haunted echoes, whispers wild. Past cuts deep with jagged blades. In dreams, the killers smile wild. Nightmares twist in fate's cruel grip. Bloodstained moon on endless nights.
Kind of give a little
Scars
bit
on
of a
heart
center
like
block
fractured
wall.
glass survive, but never
Back.
taking flight. Ghosts they scream in silent dark. Forgiveness just a distant star. Lock the past in chains and scars. Healing feels so far, so far. Standing at the edge of dawn.
All I'm really
lost in
doing
fog
is
of
adding
fate to
a
leap.
here and there.
Voices tell her
Give
final
the
fall.
illusion
Pain
of that
runs through her veins, so
Ill stuff.
deep. Hope's
Simple.
faint flicker, trembling flame. Healing starts with breaking chains. Cannot face the future blind. First she must release her mind. Ghosts they scream in silent dark. Forgiveness just a distant
If I add those effects that I took off,
the past in chains and
I don't
scars.
do them very well,
Healing
so
feels so far, so far.
try and lighten up
So
into the
far.
card just so I can get enough ring, just a hint of the ring showing.
Standing at the edge of dawn,
Last thing I'm doing,
lost in fog, afraid to
On
leap.
here,
Voices tell
adding
her
a magic
final
effect.
fall. Pain
Now, I have a
runs through
bunch of
her
brushes that do
veins,
magic
so
effects.
deep.
It
Hope's
simplifies
faint
things, but
flicker,
you
trembling flame.
can learn to do them
Healing
all.
starts
So,
with breaking chains.
and in this
Cannot
case,
face
I
the
want
future blind. First she
lights
must release her
going towards
mind.
Tetsu, towards our main
They
characters.
scream in silent dark.
I'm gonna hand
Forgiveness just a distant star. Lock the past in chains and scars. Healing feels so far, so far, so far.
E.
Shadows from my past haunt me every night. Heart full of pain and fright, but I won't lose this fight.
Whispers in the dark try to tear me apart. Burning hate in their hearts. I'll make a brand new start. I rise from shadows. Heart is all my pain.
And if your question is like, well, I don't see, you know, how that's ice. I will show you for the since I did that way. Take that off. Ace brush. That's what I just did.
Strength in every scar, each bruise a badge of honor. Fighting through the darkest hour. I'll
This is the same brush I use on ice. Kind of see the effect that has. And what it does is I take that, I add additional colors to it. Wait, doesn't let me do that. Oh. Alright. Ignore this. Ignore this. I'm not gonna do it there. It's gonna take me forever to do it. It really is. If I draw my ice, if I hand draw my ice, it's ever to...
inside from the battles I've survived. No longer can I hide. Strength in every scar.
I know I have an ice.
Lose a badge of honor. Fighting through the darkest hour. I'll prove I'm stronger. I rise from shadows. Heart is all my
Not exactly.
pain. Power in the soul. I break through the chains.
Trick with elements, ice. It really is playing with it. I don't like how that's coming. Yeah, we got another ice. I mean, I could do a blue magic. This is just color brush that has elements. Oh yeah, that looks a little bit better. So that might work. They're little brushes that just add like a glow to it, or an effect or a texture. That's all that they really are. Do that, but normally we already did it over. Did I get rid of it? I did get rid of it. Demon Blade. One like that, but
They don't know me yet, who I am. Strong magic flows and I make my stand. Stranger in this old cold clan, but I'll break through reaching for my land. Family of high noses and sneers.
for those who are wondering what this song is, this is Witch.
Bound by old books, but
We've
none of
gotten
my
to- yeah.
tears. I'll show 'em something to fear. This apple rolls clear of their gears.
Gotten to the part with
The apple falls far from the tree. They won't cage the wild in me. Hear the thunder, feel the spree. I break the chains, now I'm free. Spells they throw won't shackle this heart. My kind of magic tears them apart. Rituals and shadows I fought. I'll light a fire in this dark. Prideful eyes think they got control, but my power ain't playing that role. Breaking
I think that's what we'll do. That'll be it for today. I do kind of want to bring it out though.
The apple falls far from the tree.
Going a little bit more, so I'm gonna fade this just a hair.
Feel the wind wild and free.
Yeah, quick drawing for today. Just playing with brushes, learning techniques is the main thing. Why I chose to do drawings. Yesterday we did a bunch of watercolor with Calvin and Hobbes joke. Simply because, yeah. But we're a bit over time. I do want to thank you all for joining in tonight. Don't steal other people's artwork. That kind of sums it down, man. Don't capture something from television and then try and put a filter over it and say you did something and sell it. That's them. And just be sure to, unless you want to get your boobs growing, watch that COVID vaccine. Oh, don't be flagrant about if you are doing time lapse with no time. Don't. Well, I did this in 4 minutes. In actuality, I did it in about 5 hours. Be a little bit more. I thank you all for joining in tonight. As always, go out there and be the best you that you can be. That just means, how will you wake up that day? Yesterday was one of those that I went right back to bed because go to work again. How's the weather? Go to sleep. That was the best I could be. Yeah. Like, I need that extra hour of sleep. Then I got up and got a did work around the household for the power. Didn't do much without the power. But, that's what it means to be the best. Until then, as always, have a wonderful evening, wonderful weekend, wonderful year. Good night, everybody.
Lights go down streams and thanks for time we spent.